Some of you who have small children may have perhaps been put in the embarrassing position of being unable to do your child's arithmetic homework because of the current revolution in mathematics teaching known as the new math. So as a public service here tonight, I thought I would offer a brief lesson in the new math. Tonight, we're going to cover subtraction.
Welcome back to Breathtaking and part 2 of An Apple for the Teacher, in which our belated celebration of National Teacher Appreciation Week takes on a sharper edge. And what could be sharper than Tom Lehrer's The New Math, recommended by Shannon Kish from Facebook's Orthodox Ladies United in Fandom group.
In the new approach, as you know, the important thing is to understand what you're doing rather than to get the right answer. Here's how they do it now. You can't take 3 from 2. 2 is less than 3, so you look at the 4 in the tens place. Now that's really 4 tens, so you make it 3 tens, regroup, and you change a 10 to 10 ones, and you add them to the 2 and get 12, and you take away 3, that's 9. Is that clear? Now instead of 4 in the tens place, you've got 3 because you added 1, that is to say 10 to the 2, but you can't take 7 from 3, so you look in the hundreds place. From the 3, you then use 1 to make 10 ones, and you know why 4 plus minus 1 plus 10 is 14 minus 1, because addition is commutative, right? And so you got 13 tens, and you take away 7, and that leaves 5. Well, 6, actually, but the idea is the important thing. Now go back to the hundreds place. You're left with 2, and you take away 1 from 2, and that leaves... Everybody get 1? Not bad for the first day. Hooray for new math, new math. It won't do you a bit of good to review math. It's so simple, so very simple, that only a child can do it. Now that actually is not the answer that I had in mind, because the book that I got this problem out of wants you to do it in base 8. But don't panic. Base 8 is just like base 10, really, if you're missing 2 fingers. Shall we have a go at it? Hang on. You can't take 3 from 2. 2 is less than 3, so you look at the 4 in the 8's place. Now that's really 4 8s, so you make it 3 8s, regroup, and you change an 8 to 8 ones, and you add to the 2, and you get 1 2 base 8, which is 10 base 10, and you take away 3, that's 7. Okay? Now instead of 4 in the 8's place, you've got 3 because you added 1, that is to say 8, to the 2, but you can't take 7 from 3, so you look at the 64s. 64. How did 64 get into it? I hear you cry. Well, 64 is 8 squared, don't you see? Well, you ask a silly question, you get a silly answer. From the 3, you then use 1 to make 8 ones. You add those ones to the 3, and you get 1 3 base 8, or in other words, in base 10, you have 11, and you take away 7, and 7 from 11 is 4. Now go back to the 64s. You're left with 2, and you take away 1 from 2, and that leaves... Now, let's not always see the same hands. 1, that's right. Whoever got 1 can stay after the show and clean the erasers. Hooray for new math, new math. It won't do you a bit of good to review math. It's so simple, so very simple, that only a child can do it. Come back tomorrow night. We're going to do fractions.
And while we're on the subject of math, here is a wonderful medley by Mandy Patinkin and Kristen Chenoweth, which begins with the math-related song Inchworm, recommended by my friend Larry Doxlager, as well as by Shannon Kish from Facebook's Orthodox Ladies United in Fandom group, with words and music by Frank Lesser from the 1952 film Hans Christian Andersen. Also included in the medley are School Days, with lyrics by Will Cobb and music by Gus Edwards, which dates back to 1907, by the way, and Time in a Bottle, with lyrics and music by Jim Croce. Please click on link number 1 below to access it. I'll be here when you get back. Reading and writing and arithmetic are undoubtedly not the only things we learn in school. Here is one of Tom Paxton's most biting protest songs, What Did You Learn in School Today? Please click on link number 2 to access it, and then come back for a rare recording introduced by Oscar Hammerstein with Richard Rogers at the piano, produced by the National Conference of Christians and Jews. But for now, please click on link number 2 to hear Tom Paxton performing What Did You Learn in School Today? As promised, we now present a 1952 recording produced by the National Conference of Christians and Jews and shown in movie theaters nationwide in honor of the now defunct Brotherhood Week. It begins with Oscar Hammerstein introducing one of his most famous lyrics.
In the second act of South Pacific, a young American Navy nurse explaining her race prejudice says, "I can't help this. This is emotional. It's born in me." And the second character, the man who is losing her because of this prejudice, shouts his protest. "I do not believe this. I do not believe these things are born in you." And a third character, a young Marine lieutenant, played by my friend here, Bill Tabbert, says,
"It's not born in you. It happens after you're born."
I invite you to click on link number 3 below to listen to Richard Rogers accompanying Bill Tabbert, who performs the song he introduced as the original Lieutenant Joseph Cable in the 1949 Broadway musical South Pacific. The song, You've Got to Be Taught. Please join me next week for our final An Apple for the Teacher podcast, in which we will be leaving childhood far, far behind. In the meantime, I'm signing off for now with a song in my heart.